The barbecue smoke drifted through my son Derek's backyard as Madison held court on the deck, champagne glass raised high. At 72, recovering from cancer treatments, I sat in my designated folding chair watching what they called Madison's housewarming party. "Thank you all for celebrating our beautiful home." Madison's voice carried across the 30 guests. "Derek and I have worked so hard to earn this wonderful life." I quietly deleted a text from my property manager. Monthly rental income deposited. Portfolio now at $2.3 million. None of them knew about the real estate empire I'd built. To them, I was just Harold's struggling widow. Speaking of memories, Madison's tone shifted dangerously. "Derek's sweet mother has been storing old junk in our attic. Tonight seems perfect for spring cleaning." My stomach dropped as she disappeared into the house. Derek looked confused, but said nothing as Madison emerged carrying a white garment bag. My wedding dress. Ladies and gentlemen, a true vintage piece from 1977. She unzipped the bag, revealing my ivory silk gown with delicate lace sleeves. But honestly, doesn't this represent such an outdated era? When women just stayed home and existed. Nervous laughter rippled through the crowd. Derek's face went pale. "You know what? Time for a real cleansing ceremony." Madison marched toward the fire pit. "Out with the old." "No," I whispered, then louder, "Madison, please." "Oh, still attached to this old thing." She smirked at the crowd. "Harold's dead, and this is my house now. My life. My family. Time to stop living in the past." She tossed my wedding dress into the flames. The silk caught immediately. 4 to 7 years of memories, the happiest day of my life, curled and blackened. Pearl buttons popped in the heat. The crowd actually took photos like it was entertainment. "There. Doesn't that feel cleansing?" Madison clapped as my dress became ash. I knelt beside the fire pit, carefully sweeping the warm remains into my hands. The faint scent of lavender sachets still lingered. "It's all right, Derek," I said quietly. "It's just fabric." Madison beamed, thinking she'd won. I walked to my car and dialed my property manager. "David? Prepare eviction notices for the Colonial on Maple Street. I want them out in 30 days. Underscore 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 underscore." The next morning, Derek called at 6:47 a.m. "Mom, we need to talk. Can you come over? Madison's at yoga." He met me at the door in pajamas, hair disheveled, dark circles under his eyes. "About last night." He gestured to the living room sofa where I'd once nursed him through childhood fevers. "She was drunk, but that doesn't excuse burning your wedding dress. Dad would be so disappointed in me." "Derek, can I ask you something? Do you remember what your father said about responsibility? That it's not just taking care of yourself, but protecting people who depend on you. Do you feel you've been living up to that?" His face crumpled. "No. I've been so focused on making Madison happy, proving I could provide for her the way she deserves." "The way she deserves." "She grew up with money, Mom. Real money. Her father owns car dealerships, her mother's family has pharmaceutical wealth. I had to prove I was worthy of her. And where do I fit in? Madison says having you around makes us look unsuccessful. Like we can't handle our own family. Her friends have their parents in assisted living." The cold clarity settled over me. So last night was about establishing dominance. "I think so. And I let it happen." "Derek, who do you think owns this house?" "We got a great deal. Some investor company carried our mortgage below market rate. Henderson Holdings, I think. Madison's father helped with the down payment." "Henderson Holdings is my company." The color drained from his face. "What?" "Your father and I started investing in the 1990s. I now own 12 apartment complexes and 4 office buildings. This house? I bought it specifically for you. You've been living rent-free for 3 years." Derek stared like I was speaking another language. "The down payment didn't come from Madison's father. It came from me. Your mortgage payments don't even cover property taxes." He stood abruptly, pacing to the window. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you were so proud when you bought this house. You called your father's grave to tell him you'd made it. How could I take that away? The front door slammed. Madison's voice echoed through the foyer. Derek? Whose car is in the driveway? She appeared in yoga clothes, face flushed with irritation at finding me there. Eleanor. What a surprise. I thought after last night you'd want space to process. Actually, I came to discuss the house ownership. Madison laughed sharply. Don't be ridiculous. We own this house. My father provided the down payment. I pulled out my phone, opening the real estate app. The deed is in Henderson Holdings' name. That's my company. I showed them the screen. I bought this house for Derek to live in. Madison stared, her face cycling through confusion and dawning horror. That's impossible. My father said. Your father took credit for my gift to Derek. Derek sank onto the sofa, head in hands. 3 years. We've been living here thinking we owned it. Past tense, yes, I said calmly. After last night, this arrangement isn't working. What are you saying? Madison's voice was barely audible. I own this house, and I'm asking you to leave. Silence. Outside, life continued normally while everything shifted beneath the surface. You can't do this. Madison's voice turned shrill. We have tenant rights. You've never paid market rent, and there's no lease. Legally, you're guests who overstayed. I'd spent hours with my attorney this morning. I'll give you 30 days. Derek looked up, eyes red. Mom, please. We can work this out. She burned my wedding dress, Derek. Called it outdated trash, and made a public spectacle of destroying my most precious memory of your father. It was just a dress. Madison screamed. Madison, dear, let me explain something. I stood slowly. This was never your house. Every dinner party, every renovation, every moment you felt superior to me, you were living in my property, spending my money, taking credit for my generosity. She sank into a chair, worldview shattering. Furthermore, Derek's monthly payments go into a trust fund for your future children. There's currently $180,000 earning interest for their education. Derek's head snapped up. What? I've been paying you to live in my house while building your children's college fund. Madison locked herself upstairs, making frantic calls. Derek stared at property documents David delivered within the hour. Henderson Holdings, established 1995, Derek read. Mom, you own half the commercial district. Grief made me throw myself into building something lasting. Madison's heels clicked down the stairs, phone pressed to her ear. Daddy, this crazy woman is stealing our house. She paused, listening. What do you mean it's complicated? She ended the call, staring wildly. He's coming over to straighten this out. The doorbell rang. Madison returned with a distinguished man in an expensive but worn suit, Richard Blackwell. Eleanor Morrison, he said with practiced charm. Some misunderstanding here. No misunderstanding on my part, Richard. He sat uninvited, pulling out documents. Surely we can resolve this within family. Richard, why did you tell Madison you provided the down payment? The room went silent. The room went silent. Richard's face cycled through expressions before settling on defensive irritation. I facilitated the transaction. My attorney handled paperwork. But not from your accounts. Daddy. Madison's voice was small. What is she talking about? Richard looked cornered. When Derek needed help, I reached out to investors willing to help. You said it was from Madison's trust fund, Derek said, voice edged. I said funding was arranged through family resources. My mother isn't family resources. She's my mother. You've been taking credit for 3 years. Madison walked outside. Richard tried once more. Eleanor, surely you understand my position. Madison's family expects certain standards. Then you should have been honest from the beginning. You don't understand the pressure. Madison's mother's family has old money. They think I'm not good enough. If they knew I needed help from Derek's mother. The picture cleared. Richard lived beyond his means, protecting his reputation by taking credit for my generosity. Your family dynamics aren't my responsibility, Richard. I want Derek and Madison out in 30 days. They have rights. Actually, very few. But I'll offer a deal. I looked at Derek. Derek can stay. Alone. Continue the same payments into the Children's Trust Fund. And Madison can find her own housing. I'll provide a positive rental reference. You're breaking up my daughter's marriage. I'm removing her from my property. If the marriage can't survive paying actual rent, it wasn't very strong. Derek stood slowly. I need time to think. You have 30 days. Richard left angry. Derek and I sat quietly, Madison's voice drifting through the window as she called everyone she knew. Mom, how long have you been planning this? I wasn't planning. I was hoping Madison would eventually see me as family instead of competition. But hope must be balanced with reality. I should have stood up for you sooner. You loved her. I understand. But I should have found a way to love both of you. That evening, Derek called. Madison packed her bags. She's staying with her parents. And you? I'm staying. In your house. I want to learn to be worthy of your generosity. You've always been worthy. You just forgot. After hanging up, I carefully swept the ashes into Harold's handmade wooden box. Some things couldn't be restored, but they could be honored. The wedding dress was gone, but the love it represented lived on. And now, finally, that love was properly protected.